Right.
Ryan White.
Mike McCall.
Kevin Cool. Mark Frazier.
David Miller.
Dwayne Grace.
Scott Kraus.
Rick Walters.
Approval of the minutes of the March 12th, 2019 regular meeting.
I move to approve.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. New business, refer to staff.
Troy Long with the Salina Fire Department is with us today. He has a code amendments, wants to run before City Commission for, to add specialty contractor license for hood suppression contractors. It'll be a little bit similar of a process what we went through before with lawn irrigation sprinkler contractors, but we wanted to run it by you guys too, since that table is in Chapter 8 of the building code, or of the Salina Municipal Code. And so with that, I'll let Mr. Long do his staff report.
Good afternoon. Just a little bit of background. On October 3rd, 2016, the City Commission approved an amendment that adopted fire codes, the 2012 International Fire Code, Section 14.3-1-105.1.1. Amendment to the section of 105.1.1 of the IFC. This amendment allows the fire department to not only require permits for fire sprinklers, fire alarm, hood suppression, and spray booth suppression installations, but also charge for those as well. While working through this permitting process, we have discovered that we had not accounted for hood suppression and spray booth contractor licenses. So the contractor licensing requirements, that's similar to what has previously been done. And I'm just going to summarize, and then I'll answer any questions that you guys have towards the end of this. So the current requirements for licensure for a hood suppression contractor, or what the state calls an RA contractor, as long as you are registered with the Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office and you can install hood suppression spray booth suppression systems in the city of Salina. Currently, there is not a specialty category for this contractor in the Salina Municipal Code for hood suppression or spray booth suppression contractors. This request for a code change stems from the fact that all other life safety system contractors, fire alarm and fire sprinkler contractors, are currently required to be licensed contractors by the same code. And just to elaborate on that, fire alarm, fire sprinkler contractors simply have always been under that specialty contractor category. And what we consider a life safety contractor. Hood suppression, I feel like, is an even bigger, I mean, it's a life safety system. And further down here, what are hood suppression and spray booth contractors? So any commercial kitchen that has a type 1 hood with suppression, that's the spray booth or the hood suppression contractor. And then any commercial spray booth type system where we're spraying cars or we're spraying parts, that's your your spray booth contractors. The danger is associated as much with those or more probably than with your fire sprinkler, fire alarm contractors. As stated previously, all other life safety contractors are required to be licensed under the current Salina Code. It is our intent to bring the hood suppression, spray booth suppression contractors to the same level as other life safety contractors are currently. As far as column B and chart 2, the requirements of qualified individuals, the Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office has a requirement that they must meet and are listed in the KSA 2210-3, which is attached. I'm not sure it is. Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office requires an annual registration with proof of insurance and continuing education, whereas our ordinance is a 3-year renewal. The plan would be to reciprocate the Kansas State Fire Marshal's license of RA contractors. However, we will stay on a 3-year renewal process. And so the licensure for the Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office is a ICC certification, very much like your other contractors here in Salina. As far as the permitting, how this will be established is permit is requested by and issued to the specialty hood suppression, spray booth suppression contractor. At the time the permit or application is requested, the specialty hood suppression spray booth contractor must be a licensed hood suppression or spray booth contractor. The inspection required for that permit is a hood suppression test or spray booth suppression test of a newly installed system. The inspection can be requested directly of our department and scheduled by the specialty contractor. The fee for the permit of a standalone system not included with another building permit will be based on a fire department plan review, inspection and testing, which currently is a flat fee of $170. The above mentioned systems within a building permit will not incur the same fee due to the fee already being assessed for the building permit. So just basically, if it's a new restaurant in town and they've pulled a permit to do the new restaurant, we're not going to assess another fee just for the hood suppression system. It'll already be taken care of within that initial building permit. Just to add on to this, so this is kind of a two-headed monster. The other part of this is the next code amendment that we want to affect is to be able to use a system called Compliance Engine. Compliance Engine is directly related to this because so Compliance Engine is a reporting software when a hood suppression contractor or a fire sprinkler contractor or a fire alarm contractor does an annual or semi-annual test of any of these systems, they would go to the website for Compliance Engine and fill out a report and file that annual report with Compliance Engine. Part of the deal with Compliance Engine is they want to see, they're going to prove or provide to us that these guys are licensed contractors. If they're not licensed contractors, they're going to kick that annual test back. So part of this Compliance Engine is really kind of protecting the licensed contractors in Salina. This code change has nothing to do with Compliance Engine at this time. It has more to do with getting them on the same level as the fire alarm, fire sprinkler contractors. But when we do move ahead with trying to adopt the Compliance Engine, then it becomes directly affected because at that time we can't, it's harder for us to track those licensed contractors. So I guess I'll field any questions. And
Well, isn't it mostly the fire sprinkler guys that are installing these right now?
no, fire sprinkler contractors can't install these. Fire sprinkler contractors are a different type of specialty contractors. They're hanging fire sprinkler pipe and systems like that. This is a hood suppression system. They're really small. They hook to like an extinguisher and plumb into the hoods.
Right.
And they're a specialty contractor within themselves. We don't see very many sprinkler contractors that also do this.
So who in town's licensed to do that?
Aaron Fire is one of them. Cintas, which I think they've got some representation here in town,
And if-
also does that.
If they're all licensed right now, what are we trying to do?
They're registered with the state.
But they're not licensed through the city.
They are not.
I see.
I guess if there isn't any further questions, we can go through this here at the bottom of his staff report here for Building Advisory Board action. Number one, the Building Advisory Board could recommend approval to the City Commission for a proposed amendment to Chapter 8, Article 3, Section 172.1, Chart 1, and Section 8-175, Chart 2 of the Salina Municipal Code. Number two, the Building Advisory Board could recommend approval to the City Commission their proposed amendments to Chapter 8, Article 3, 172.1, Chart 1, and Section 8175, Chart 2 of the Salina Municipal Code with any additions, deletions, or modifications the board, to the text the board deems appropriate. The Building Advisory Board could recommend the City Commission to maintain the status quo and recommend that the proposed amendment to those sections should remain the same at this time. And the fire department supports and recommends option one. The new ordinance will provide the same level of requirements for all life safety system installers.
I would move to approve option one.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Any discussion from the public? Do we need to take a roll call vote on this? Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Were there any opposed?
Any opposed?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to unfinished or other business.
I wanted to bring up a little bit this time, just to give you guys a bit of an update. I know we talked about in our first meeting of the year about doing code amendments, code adoption hearings and stuff like that this year. Still tentatively planning on doing that. However, right now it's in the hands of upper management there. We have some budgetary concerns, and also they're considering on waiting until the state fire marshal adopts their code section so that we don't conflict with what they're doing. But there's a couple other things in play here. So as soon as I get the go-ahead, I'll forward down to you guys and let you know when we're going to move ahead with that.
Okay. Anything else under unfinished or other business?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to establish the UPC-UMC Review Committee to review the 2018 UPC-UMC code to recommend adoption by the City Council.
That's
Second.
Is that an action item? We can't do that. It's not an action item. Right, okay.
No, but that is something, that the board will discuss whenever we start doing code hearings, whether or not you want to go with uniform or ICC or whatever. That's something that can be decided, then, but without it being an action item and staff reports and everything else, I don't know that this time we could entertain that. But it definitely will be an option, a topic of discussion whenever we get to that point for doing that.
So it needs to be an action item to form a subcommittee to look at the differences in the new
Well-
UPC, UMC versus
I mean,
the
we're-
one that we're currently under?
It's something that can't come about until the new code change.
Right. I mean, it's something that we will do. We will form subcommittees to look at the UMC, UPC, and if you want, look at the ICC and compare that or not. I mean, you guys have that option to, if you want to do the uniform, we'll do the uniform. We'll just compare between years of the uniform.
I guess I misunderstood. I thought the motion was simply to form a subcommittee to start reviewing the differences in the 2018 versus the current code that we're under.
Right, and that's what we do during the code review hearings whenever we started that. But right now, you know, we don't have books to outfit everyone, a subcommittee for that. We don't have anything for that at this time.
So we want to wait before we start that.
Yeah, and we definitely will do it. Just whenever we start doing the subcommittees for all the codes, we'll get all the books, we'll get all that set up, and we'll do that all at the same
I
time.
guess I
But-
saw the motion as just an attempt to kind of get a jump on it, start streamlining the process.
We went over, Rick, we went over all this the last code amendment, and all the plumbers in town at that time, and mechanical contractors wanted to stay UPC.
And I would imagine it'll be the same this time. But I thought the changes in those, between the new code that we're getting ready to adopt and the
Right.
code we have in force now, that if we could start that process and we have some expertise available to kind of look at any changes and kind of give a forewarning to the board of any possible changes that are coming.
When those committees are formed like they were last time, volunteers will be asked for, and hopefully you guys will still have the interest, because it's tough sometimes to get people to, because it takes a lot of time. I mean, those committees, you know, you go over a lot of stuff and it takes a lot of time, so
Well, then
hopefully we
I guess
retain the
we'll just
interest.
wait till
But
this
we'll wait
process
until it's formed and then ask for volunteers, and hopefully you guys will
You know, then,
be right in the middle of that.
yeah, I mean, then, of course, at that time, we'll, you know, provide the literature and books for the subcommittees, and you guys can do all the studying you want. I'll provide a staff report for all the significant changes. You know, if you can read through it too, and if you see something that I missed that you think is significant that I maybe didn't, obviously that'll all get hashed out in the subcommittee meetings, but we'll definitely go through them all.
Well,
with
as you know, I've
with a
been-
fine tooth comb.
I've been through the process a few times here over the course of the years, and I just thought maybe we could get a jump on it. But if you want to wait, we'll just wait.
Anything else under unfinished or other business? Moving on to public forum. Anybody? We do have some interest in public forum.
Good afternoon. Brian Rogers, International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials. And I just wanted to make the board aware of a new testing option for journey person, mechanical, and plumbing that IAPMO has to offer. It's called our Flex Testing Option for the journey person and master exam. And what that allows individuals to do that are testing for those exams is to be able to take those exams in the comfort of their home or office by utilizing IAPMO and our third-party proctor. That third-party proctor allows the candidate, the test candidate, to take the exam, their computer-based exam on their computer with their camera, and that proctor watches them the whole time that exam is being taken. If there's any suspicious activity or anything happens, the exam is terminated and the recorded exam is turned over to IAPMO for further review. So I just wanted to make the board aware that that option is now available. And if there's anybody that you know of in Salina that is interested in taking advantage of that option, they can contact our certification department. Judy Alderhoffen is her name, and she'd be able to set anybody up and help them out with that. So just wanted to make the board aware of that. If there's any questions,
Wish I had done that about 30 years ago.
wouldn't that have been nice?
I got a question.
Sure.
Inspector certifications too?
Yes, sir. Inspector certifications also.
Is there a fee on that?
Yes, there is. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that fee is.
Is it an additional fee besides what the regular licensing thing is, or is it just what you normally pay to take the test at, you know, anywhere, any other location?
I'm not sure I understand the
Is
question.
it an additional fee to take the test at home as it would be to go to a testing location? Or is it just the same fee
No,
that
it's-
you would
it's
for a
just
regular test?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
a testing fee, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea to add flexibility to that process.
There's a lot of rural communities, rural
Right.
Kansas, I mean, rural everywhere, that have problems being able to get candidates to testing sites. So this is a good option for that. Yeah,
I'm
and-
happy
and
to
there's-
see
and
IATMO's taking the lead in that.
There's, there's some people that have a lot of test anxiety when they get into that room with a bunch of test candidates and a proctor. This hopefully will alleviate some of that tension that some of those people have. So, should be good.
I think it's a great idea.
Anybody else? Great, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Anybody else under public forum? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.